Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to this week's news and practice roundup. Once again, I'll go over 4 stories, mostly driver market related this time, and then run through the results from FP1 and FP2 towards the end of the video. First up today though, Sebastian Vettel has confirmed that he has held what he described as loose talks with Racing Point over the possibility of a drive in 2021. Over the last week, speculation has been growing about the idea of the German joining the team next season, with Sergio Perez expected to be the driver to lose his seat should a deal be agreed. And when asked about the possibility of a move to Aston Martin next season, Vettel played down any talk that he was on the brink of signing a contract, but did confirm that discussions have taken place, although he's in no rush to make any decision. At this stage, I think it's talks. I said last week that obviously I've been in talks with Renault, for example, so I think it's also just talks. I think at a later stage with anyone, I think then it would get a bit more concrete. But at this stage, the truth is that there is nothing to announce and nothing more concrete than just loose talks. It will probably take some time, most importantly for myself, to make the right decision for myself. Anything at this stage is still open, so I'm not pressured or feeling pressure to make any decision to continue. Now, although nothing has been confirmed and both parties are very much sticking to their PR lines, it is looking increasingly likely that Sergio Perez will find himself losing his seat, with Vettel teaming up with Lance Stroll. And the Mexican has confirmed that despite only signing a new 3-year deal with Racing Point last year, he has been contacted by rival teams regarding a drive for 2021, and reports in Mexico say that Checo's manager is looking at alternative options. That report by ESPN says that Perez is aware a deal is almost done for Vettel to take his seat and lists Alfa Romeo and Haas as the most likely destinations for the Mexican, as there is uncertainty around the futures of both Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean as well as Kimi Räikkönen. And when pressed on the issue of his future in Thursday's press conference and whether he could be 100% certain he would be staying with Racing Point for 2021, the word of the day from Checo was very much contract. In Formula 1, you never know until you are going to start the race if you are going to be racing. This is how things are. I know I've got a contract. Obviously, the rumours came out and we actually got contacted by a team in the paddock and also by other teams in categories, which was quite a surprise because we have a contract for next year here. At the moment, there are just rumours around, nothing more to add from my side other than we've got a contract in place. So it looks as though Checo is on his way out and Vettel is on his way in to take his place. Now, this is a news roundup, so I'll mostly be sticking to the facts and reports, but I am going to make a video on this next week and give some more of my, more detailed thoughts on all of this. What I will say for now, though, is that Vettel is a great option for Racing Point, and he would absolutely be a great marquee name to have next year when the rebrand to Aston Martin is complete. However, dropping Perez baffles me somewhat. I completely understand that Lawrence Stroll wants his son to have a drive, and that's why he's bought a team, and the appeal of a 4-time world champion is huge. But I also hope Stroll would look at this as a businessman and do what was best for the team. Vettel and Perez would be one hell of a lineup and could really help propel the team further up the grid. If I were in charge, that's what I would do. But ultimately, I'm not in charge. It's his team and he can do what he likes with it. And let's be honest, he's not likely to pay through the nose to keep a team afloat and then pay for his son to drive elsewhere. Anyway, like I say, this is a news video and I will do a proper one on the Vettel Aston Martin rumours next week. Let's move on though, and Valtteri Bottas has said there is no rush for him to sign a new Mercedes deal, but admits that he hopes it isn't going to drag on for too much longer. The Finn is out of contract at the end of this season, but it is expected Mercedes will re-sign him for 2021, and with Williams confirming on Thursday that they will be keeping George Russell for next season, the chances of Bottas staying put appear to be growing. But although nothing has been signed just yet, it has been confirmed that talks have started, and in Bottas's own words, they are moving in the right direction. I can say that we have started talking about it. I think we all realise that time actually goes quick with these triple headers and pretty intense schedule for all of us. Obviously, nothing is signed yet, and I think things are moving along in the right direction. The main thing is to keep focused on the championship, so keep focus on that, and I'm sure things will move on eventually. But of course, from the driver's side, if things drag on, it's not nice, but we've only done 2 races, so it's okay. There's no big panic or big rush. It looks like Bottas is staying with Mercedes then, and that makes total sense for Mercedes given the freeze on development and the regulations being pushed back to 22. But also, the Hamilton-Bottas lineup has worked so well for the team and continues to work well, so why make changes for change's sake? Of course, it would have been massively intriguing to see how George Russell did against Lewis Hamilton, but that's not a reason to ditch Bottas. He makes perfect sense, and Russell can easily continue his development over at Williams next season. Looking at it strictly from a Mercedes point of view, I see no reason whatsoever to let Bottas go. But I'm going to throw these first three stories open to you guys. What do you make of all the talk of Vettel to Racing Point, or Aston Martin as they will be known next year? And if he does sign, who would you put alongside him? Would you go with Perez or Stroll or even somebody else? You can, as ever, let me know your thoughts on those questions and indeed Bottas' future in the comment section down below. And finally, for the news section of this video, Carlos Sainz has said that it is too soon to judge his move to Ferrari for 2021 at this early stage of the season. Ferrari have, understatement alert, had a very disappointing start to the 2020 campaign, and that has led to many questioning the timing of Sainz's move to the Scuderia. In fact, as of right now, it appears as though McLaren are actually in a better position when it comes to performance than the Scuderia. But the Spaniard is adamant it is too soon for regret and has reiterated that he is fully focused on McLaren for this year and isn't worried about what Ferrari are doing. Many people are asking me this if I am extremely worried or regretting my decision or anything. I feel like it is not a real question to be answered right now. I think it is way too early in the season. We all need to be a bit patient. I think you've clearly seen how much a car can change from one year to another. The good thing about Formula 1 is that this never stops and that I'm not worried about it happening now because in a year it can change. I said it 100 times that my main goal this year is to do as best I can for McLaren and not focus on what is going on in Ferrari. Then, as soon as this season is over, I will have time to go into Ferrari and focus on that and see how we can make next season better than this one. Although it is very early in the season and perhaps too soon to be overly worried about Sainz's decision for next year, Ferrari are undoubtedly a long way off where we're used to seeing them, and with development on much of the car being frozen for next year and no changes to the power unit being permitted for a while, 2021 could also be a very tough year for the Scuderia. As for Sainz though, so far in 2020 he's finished 5th and 9th, picking up a total of 13 points, just 6 fewer than Ferrari have scored as a team, and McLaren currently sits 2nd in the Constructors' Championship with 39 points. Like I say, very early days yet, but could Sainz go on to regret that decision? Time will tell. And finally, let's have a look at the results and any major talking points from today's practice session, starting with FP1. So Lewis Hamilton topped that first practice session with a 1:16.003. That was on the hard tyre, and he was 0.08 of a second quicker than his teammate who set that lap on the medium tyre. Already looking very, very good for Mercedes this weekend. Also looking good for Racing Point. Sergio Perez 3rd and Lance Stroll in 4th there. Getting on for half a second between the two of them though. Daniel Ricciardo in 5th place. Very good lap for him, just 1.1 seconds off the fastest time. Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc 6th and 7th for Ferrari. A better morning for them, and hopefully they can get enough running this weekend to test out those upgrades that they couldn't test out last time in Austria. Max Verstappen was 8th in the Red Bull with Lando Norris 9th and Esteban Ocon in 10th. Couple of things worth mentioning for the top 10 there though, because I just completely forgot, but Sergio Perez had a massive lock-up into turn 1, got a huge flat spot. He was back in the pit lane, and that was it for his session. He didn't go out again after that one. And Max Verstappen, very frustrating morning for him in terms of traffic, and at one point it looked as though he was very close to going into the back of Nicholas Latifi. Not a happy Dutchman, and like I say, 8th place in the end. Carlos Sainz was 11th for McLaren with Kevin Magnussen there in 12th. Alexander Albon, only 13th for Red Bull with Romain Grosjean in 14th. Then we've got the first Williams of Nicholas Latifi. Very good job from him this morning, 15th place. And then it's Daniel Kvyat in 16th, Antonio Giovinazzi 17th and George Russell in 18th. Robert Kubica was 19th this morning. I actually forgot he was out in FP1 today, but he was there, had a little bit of a spin at turn 1 after exiting the pit lane, but no damage and managed to continue. He was, as I say, 19th place, and poor Pierre Gasly got no running done at all this morning. A sensor issue on his car led to Honda and Red Bull having to investigate that issue, so absolutely nothing on the board, not even an installation lap for Pierre Gasly. It did stay pretty much dry for all of FP1, a little bit of drizzle about, but nothing major. However, in FP2, it was a very different story. I am going to read you these times. It's kind of pointless because not everybody set a time, but also because the track was extremely wet. These times are even more irrelevant than they usually are on a Friday. Although if we get some rain on Sunday, the wet running done from some of these drivers could prove to be invaluable. I'll run through these quickly. In terms of talking points, really just a few cars going straight on as you would expect on a wet track. But it was Sebastian Vettel who topped this afternoon's session at 140.464, 2 tenths clear of Valtteri Bottas in second, and Carlos Sainz third place there for McLaren. Lance Stroll was fourth with teammate Sergio Perez just behind him fifth, and then it's Pierre Gasly sixth, Max Verstappen seventh and Romain Grosjean eighth, with Kimi Raikkonen ninth and Charles Leclerc rounding out the top 10. Not a huge number of laps across the board, but 16 laps for Raikkonen, 12 for Vettel and 10 for Leclerc. I don't know what data they can get in that time, but it's something I suppose. Antonio Giovinazzi 11th for Alfa, 12th was Lando Norris and Daniel Kvyat was the last driver to set a time in 13th. And that was, for what it's worth, a 147.4. And then we've got Ocon, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Latifi, Russell, Albon and Magnussen, who failed to set a time. In fact, out of all those drivers, the driver who did the most laps was Alex Albon on 3. That is it for this week's roundup then. Don't forget you can let me know your thoughts on any of the stories featured today down in the comment section. Before I go though, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel over the last 3 years. Last night we smashed through that incredible milestone, which is 100,000 subscribers, and I am so grateful, so incredibly humbled for all of your support over the last few years. I will do a proper 100k thank you special probably next week, but for now, all I can say genuinely from the bottom of my heart is thank you all so much. Now, I will be back tomorrow with the race look ahead. In the meantime, though, don't forget you can of course follow me over on social media, and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will catch you again in the next one. Bye-bye.